I'm gonna shut my mouth and let you listen to this thing for a while. Oh. Sitting inside is probably not as loud as other Ferraris we've driven in the past, but if you're on the outside and you hear this naturally aspirated V12 screaming past you, honestly, I just can't imagine you'll ever get sick of this noise. You know, the saddest thing about this car, in my opinion at least, is that in about a decade's time, or maybe 15 years' time, naturally aspirated V12s are simply not going to exist anymore. It's all going to be turbos, it's all going to be electric cars and all the other crap that we really just don't want. So have a listen to this some more, because you're going to miss it when it's gone. This is the Ferrari GTC4 Lusso, and it's long, very long. And it doesn't look all that great until you see it and appreciate it in the flesh. Look, it's by no means the prettiest car Ferrari has ever designed, but it's not exactly ugly either. What we love about this thing is how practical it is, especially the boot. If you remove these two pieces, there is a huge amount of space back here, although, to be fair, getting these things out proved to be a bit of a challenge. Now, you really don't want to lose this, because this is probably the most expensive luggage cover in history. It's got all the options that you've ordered with this car, which for this one in particular is about 200 grams worth of stuff. Now, the whole reason you buy this car is because of these two seats in the rear. All you have to do is pull this little lever on the front seat, you wait for it to go forward, and then you try and get in gracefully. Might be a bit of a challenge. Turn around, not too hard, pull the seat back, it all comes back by itself. Ow, 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 it's crushing my feet. And look, not too bad. Now, 4 seats, actual space, and the soul of Maranello. This is a practical Ferrari, and as much of an oxymoron as that sounds, I think it's pretty good. Now, these rear seats are definitely meant for kids, but if you've got adults, I reckon they'll survive here for a little while, and they'll definitely appreciate this $32,000 sunroof. Unless, of course, you live in Brisbane, where it's bloody hot, and if I touch it, it actually burns my finger. Lusso means luxury, and whilst these seats are probably not that comfortable if you're going to do a long commute, the rest of the cabin definitely lives up to its name. It's the interior where we found the GTC4 really comes to life. It is by all means the best interior of any Ferrari we have yet experienced. This big screen, the leather dash, the whole cabin feels incredibly well put together and very luxurious. The infotainment system that has integrated Apple CarPlay and that optional passenger screen also look pretty good in the flesh, but are insanely buggy to use, as you may expect from an Italian car. At around $750,000, including options, you really have to be sure to buy this Lusso. I mean, you can get a 488 and a top-spec SUV from another luxury brand for the same cost. So who does buy this car? Look, I really think if you're going to buy one of these, you probably already have a 458 or a 488. The whole point of this car is to be able to take the family out with the badge. But as we all know, practicality isn't everything when it comes to a Ferrari, even this one. It'll go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 3.4 seconds. So no matter how you look at it, it's just fast. This thing weighs nearly 2 tons, and I'm driving around these twisty roads like, I don't know, like it's a 488. It really is a proper sports car, and I was quite shocked by that. I wasn't expecting this level of agility, and I gotta say, that is a huge testament to Ferrari's engineers. Now, if you're wondering why a Ferrari can weigh 2 tons, because it's a GT. It's very comfortable in here. Everything I could possibly ever imagine of a luxury car is currently in this cabin. Now, the other reason, of course, is that this car is all-wheel drive, and it's not a simple all-wheel drive system. No. Ferrari doesn't do things simply. They have to make it as complicated as possible. Now, in this case, there's a 7-speed gearbox behind me and a 2-speed transmission in front of me. It works in some sort of magic voodoo way that I'm not going to even bother to explain because I don't really understand it, if I'm perfectly honest. But I do know that it only works from 1st to 4th gear. Get into 5th, it's rear-wheel drive. Speaking of the gearbox, look, it's probably not as aggressively tuned as the one in the 488. It doesn't jolt you back into the seat with every single shift, but at the end of the day, when I pull this right lever, it's almost instant. Like a typical Ferrari, this is the sort of car you could lose your license in like 5 minutes, particularly here in Australia. But I have to say, it does have the world's largest digital speedometer, and it's on both sides. You can have it everywhere you want. It tells you how fast you're going, as big as possible. So if you get pulled over and the guy goes, "How fast were you going?" and you say, "I don't know," it's just a lie. The one thing I'm probably not all that certain about when it comes to this car is the rear wheel steering system. Now, in most cars, I'm a big fan because it really helps you go around corners at a much faster speed. The wheels turn the opposite direction or with it, depending on how fast you're going. It's all very technical, but it's all very good. And this thing, it feels like I'm about to slide out. Now, not in a bad way, but in that sort of, you're having a bit of an oversteer moment, but you're gonna look like a hero kind of way. And I'm not really sure if that's appropriate for a car like this. You know what I love the most about this car? No one asked me about it. Whenever I test drive a Ferrari, I get asked, "Hey man, what do you do for a living?" And they always sort of come up with some stupid answer like I'm an investment banker or a Saudi prince. And this one, no one seems to notice. I'm just a dude in a grey car. It's awesome. This car is all about its dual purpose. So once you finish with your long country drive, or perhaps even if you take it to a racetrack, because it can do that, you simply drive it back into the city like we are here in Brisbane CBD, turn this thing from sport to comfort, and it turns into a regular family car. And what's so impressive about this car in the urban environment is the ride comfort. I mean, these dampers are like magic. Somehow this gigantic car rides beautifully. It is probably the most comfortable Ferrari I have ever been in. In fact, I have been in plenty of BMWs and Mercedes-Benzes that don't ride as well as this. When all is said and done, what other car can you buy with a naturally aspirated V12 that could also take your kids to school? I mean, seriously, will you ever get bored of this car? I really don't think so. You ready, buddy?